in an NFT bubble? What are your thoughts on that? People said he thought we were. Do you agree?
I do. I think that we are in a very similar place to where we were in internet stocks in 2000. I think when you have these massive transformation technology shifts, there's a moment where everybody gets excited about it. And, you know, for me, the internet was happening in 95, 6, 7, but you started to really see the stock market embrace with those IPOs in 98, 99, and then obviously in March, April of 2000, you had the collapsing of it. At the time of the stocks, at the time, a lot of people talked about the internet being a fad and it never being meaningful for businesses, blah, blah, blah. What happened in reality was the internet was this game-changing revolution of technology, but a lot of the early projects were just overpriced on the excitement. I think we're absolutely in the replication of this. I think NFTs are going to be a framework that we trade in, collect in, utility in, access in for the rest of our collective lives. But I think some of the projects that you're seeing right now on the individual pieces are going to burst. My intuition is you're going to see an ICO and a Internet 2000 stocks dynamic here, which is the macro is right. Cryptocurrency is right, which is why there was even that ICO movement. NFTs are right. The digitalization, the provenance, the ecosystem is going to happen, right? What happens in the early days where there's no restriction to be in the game, it is very easy for even a person that knows nothing about NFTs right this minute to Google and YouTube for 4 hours and have their first NFT on OpenSea tonight. Mm-hmm. That's a very, please.
No, I was going to say, I'll take you up on that and see if I can.
Yeah, you should do that. And I'll tell you why you should do that. And everybody listening should do it. It's the greatest way to learn is doing it. You can read about push-ups. It's a lot better to do them.
That's 100%.
And but what I think is going to end up happening is from Taco Bell to McDonald's, from Pokemon to Star Wars, from every 16-year-old digital artist on earth, to everybody like me who's had this hidden little art talent that they've never shared. Everybody is going to be an artist, just like everybody became an influencer at some degree. Everybody became a personal brand, whether they like it or not. Everybody has a social media footprint. And when I say everybody, of course not everybody, but like, fuck, a lot. Hundreds of millions of people, billions of people. I think you're going to see the same thing. Now imagine what that means. It means that the early stuff right now on the hype are getting a lot of the economics, but there's going to be too much supply. And only the 1% are going to be these incredible economies. And oh, by the way, no different than when Star Trek came out, just to remind all the nerds, because I'm one, there was a million space movies in between Star Trek and Star Wars. And, you know, Black Hole is good IP, but it's not worth what fucking Star Wars is worth, right? Mm-hmm. You know, Planet of the Apes is pretty cool, but it's not worth what Star Wars is worth. And I think that's what you're going to see. But I do think that there's going to be a collapse on a lot of projects. And I think people have to be very thoughtful about the macro of NFT and separating that movement from the NFT projects. No different than separating the internet from internet stock companies and companies like pets.com and eToys. They failed. But to remind everybody, Amazon was part of that group too. And that was a very good investment in the year 2000 when all the markets died. And that's how I plan on playing it.
NBA Top Shot.
Yes.
It is exploding right now. How much do you believe that this is something that is here to stay versus a fad like, say, Beanie Babies?
I think NFTs are here to stay in perpetuity. I think the NBA is one of the great IPs in the world. So I'm extremely bullish. However, I do believe that it is extremely vulnerable as an investment right now. Unlike Beanie Babies, which I think the whole genre ended up being a fad. 94 different Beanie Babies! I think NBA Top Shot and Sports League's IP, NFT, through the moon. Do I think that somebody's going to pay the same price for a Terry Rozier pass highlight in 3 years than it's trading right now? I do not. Like, oh shit, a lot of people who are in for a quick buck are going to run into this and buy some project because somebody told them it's going to go up. And when I say, hey, 97% of NFT projects, not the NFT space, are very vulnerable to not being successful investments, I believe that to be true out of history, out of knowing human psychology. In the micro, there will be a stunning amount of people that buy things for investment purpose that will collapse aggressively.